So I kind of wanted to talk about loneliness. It's I'd say it's a hot topic. It's something that people are kind of more talking about these days. You hear terms like the loneliness pandemic, how younger people, especially Zoomers, um, are just more lonely. As much as I wouldn't admit to myself when I was younger, I've been pretty lonely, I guess I would say, my entire life. And I guess where I have a disconnect with the discussion around loneliness is I feel like when most people talk about loneliness, they talk about not having any friends and how what they're looking for is a couple friends, maybe a best friend, people to just talk to about themselves, what they're interested in, how they feel, talk about their feelings, someone to lean on, someone that they can come to with their problems and issues. And when it comes to myself, I'm lucky enough that I've had a very long-term best friend who I can talk to about these things, who I can be more emotional with, who I can have a deeper level of connection with. And I've also had, I would say, like, more casual friends throughout my entire life. I've never really had an issue making friends. But with that being said, throughout my entire life, I've always had this kind of core feeling of loneliness. And I feel like this isn't something that's really talked about. And I honestly, and because of that, I have no clue if it's a me thing. Is this something everyone feels? Is this an experience everyone goes through? Or is this something unique? I honestly don't know. And I'm so curious if other people feel this similar way where you have friends, you have close friends, you're around people a lot. I don't have an issue being around people, talking around people. But I just have this kind of inherent feeling of loneliness where it doesn't feel like anyone really understands me. I'm laughing because I feel like it's the classic thing to say, right? It's like, oh, I'm not understood. I'm mysterious. I'm different. No one understands me. You know, it's kind of that cringe stuff. But I, I, I don't know what to say other than, like, it's genuinely how I feel. I've really only met one person who unfortunately is no longer in my life, who I've connected with on such a level that I felt truly understood. But most people, I feel like they can understand parts of me, but they can't really get close to the whole picture. I feel like a lot of people can't even remotely get close to understanding the whole picture of who I am. And what I think is a big part of this is I tend to be a more, I don't even like to say I'm a negative person. I am a more negative person. I am more pessimistic, that's for sure. But there was a term I saw, or I think I just thought of it. I was thought of it, and I looked it up, and it was a thing that someone coined called, like, a peso optimist. It's like, I like to be pessimistic, but I don't like to be super doomer. Like, I feel like I tend to be realistic. That's the term I would use. Which I think tends to be more pessimistic, right? The reality of most things is that they're not going to go as nicely as you want them to. Nothing's going to turn out exactly how you want it. And I don't know. I feel like it's really hard, or that pessimism pushes people away. Like when I express how I truly feel about things, it pushes people away. People don't like to hear it. And the hard part is I can caveat things. I feel like my ability to have good optics is a skill I've been very good at developing, because my true opinions are pretty negative. And so I've learned that to get people to more agree with you or understand parts of your perspective, or to not push back as hard against your perspective, is to kind of balance it out with optics, caveats, show the other person through how you're speaking that you don't have such black and white thinking. And, well, that works to an extent. It doesn't feel, when I talk that way, like I'm truly being heard. It feels like I'm kind of giving people a half take, kind of just giving them a little bit of how I actually feel, and seeing if they can accept it. And I'm always kind of like scared to give them the raw take, like how I actually fully feel about a situation, what I would say to someone if I didn't have to care about optics. I feel like most people don't want to hear that, and that's why I find I have this kind of existential feeling of loneliness, because in my experience, people don't want to hear the negative, pessimistic, maybe a bit egotistical, if I'm going to be completely honest, takes. They really just don't want to hear that. And it's hard because I feel like it's a feedback loop where if I express how I truly feel and you get pushback for it, or people don't give you, let's say, a reassuring response or an empathetic response, then it makes you not want to actually open up about how you actually feel about things. It makes you more reserved about your true feelings or your true opinions. And when you're more reserved about your true feelings, you're not going to express, you're going to feel less heard because you won't express how you actually feel. And I think a lot of it comes down to a concept I've talked briefly about before of emotional understanding, where I think there's only like a small percentage of people that can truly understand your emotional experience. There's only a small minority of people who have gone through similar, could be different, but I feel like it's usually similar life experiences, where when you kind of they hear you say something, they truly understand what you mean. Like, you don't have to explain it. They know. And for me personally, those people are just so hard to find, and it's a lonely feeling when you can't really find people who understand you. And I feel like the pushback that I've gotten for this in the past, or what I've kind of told myself was that, okay, well, right, you have to explain yourself. You can't just say things vaguely and expect everyone to understand how you feel and what you mean. And while that's true, you do have to explain yourself. There's I don't know. There's something so different about the people that you don't have to explain yourself to. Those are the people that I truly feel connected with. And part of me doesn't like that, because it seems like the easy way out. It seems kind of selfish to only like the people that are the easiest to talk to, that truly understand you, that you don't have to explain yourself to. It kind of feels like I'm taking the easy way out. But I think I've gotten to a point in my life where I've tried to, and maybe I should have tried more, I don't know, but it feels like I've gotten to a point in my life where I've learned that there's only so much explaining you can do. Some people just won't be able to understand, emotionally understand what you're saying, who you are, no matter how much explaining you do. And so for myself, I've gotten to a point where I seek out the people that will understand who I am as a person, without me having to explain every part of who I am and caveat everything, and show that I understand the nuance of situations. I just want to be who I am and be accepted for who I am. And I just think it's very rare to find people that understand that. So I'd be very curious. What does loneliness mean to you? What is your experience of loneliness? Do you just need a couple friends? Do you just need some more people in your lives to chat with? Or are you looking for those people that understand you without you having to explain yourself? Are you looking for those intensely deep connections? I'd be very curious to hear. Because it's almost as if I feel alone in my loneliness. My loneliness feels lonely, underrepresented. When I talk about the types of connections I'm looking for, I feel like people don't understand. And that in and of itself creates the feedback loop of feeling even more alone. I feel like an alien that's looking for something that most people just don't understand or value. And so I'd be very curious to hear what loneliness is to you. All right. Peace.